Arize, more than basketball. I would say your last name, but I don't feel like butchering it on air in front of people and doing that to myself.
No problem. Ifejika.
Alright.
Yeah, Ifejika.
Mr. Arize Ifejika. So on Twitter you said busy day for you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks. No problem, man. I gave my word, so I ain't gonna back out on that.
Oh man, we appreciate it. Rob, you say hello to Arize.
Arize, how you doing, sir? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No problem, man. It's a pleasure.
Man, so like I said, I got up this morning. This is the first part of my prep today. Usually it doesn't involve watching the movie, but got up this morning, watched More Than Basketball, Pound the movie. I wanted to get that part straight. Pound the movie.
Definitely Pound the movie.
Yes, and it was great actually, and I thought it was wonderful that you shed light on. A lot of people think it's real easy, you just go to school and play ball. Life's sweet, and it's far from it. When you think about it as a kid, all the things you'd like to do that you don't get the opportunity to do because of your dedication to your craft, and the family issues that may arise. And females, I apologize, but females, I'm just gonna leave that at that. But
money, greed. It's a lot.
And then even showed a little snapshot of just a minute snapshot of recruiting, and that's just real on how many different ways that can affect a kid and how many different ways recruiting is that it's done.
Definitely. Even though a lot of that stuff is it's fact based, it's still told from a fictitious point of view. It's not
right.
Like I pinpointed a certain person.
No.
But yeah, definitely. The game is a dirty game. Well, it's a clean game, but can have dirty elements to it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the system does work. I'm not gonna say the system doesn't work, but there are some dirty elements to it, and I just shed light on it a little bit.
Fair enough. Well, like anything in life, there's a good and a bad, and the bad that comes with it is a part that I think some people overlook or don't think it's a big deal. The movie, what inspired you to make a movie? Not too many people just wake up and go, I want to make a movie today.
Yeah, that's true. But my influences, I always try to be, think out the box. I always try to, try to see how I can stay, not only stay ahead of my competitors, but also, find a way to be creative, ingenuity, and something that, will relate with the kids, with the youth, because, those are things that I was missing as a child. But, I was like a real self-motivated guy, so. But for me, I think Crush Groove was the first influence, and then TCB, Keep It Gangsta, was the other influence. Crush Groove, those guys had money to, for major productions and stuff, so that was an influence on that, but it was an influence basically going in depth into their business, what they do, and showing the come up, so that was I was really motivated by that. But TCB, Keep It Gangsta was because, I know disrespect, but it was kind of you could tell it wasn't, like a big production.
Right.
And people still received it well, still got a lot of a lot of accolades, and a lot of people appreciated it. It became like a hood classic. So I was worst case scenario, it could be like TCB, Keep It Gangsta, because the relativity, was going to resonate with, the kids and stuff. So.
I think it's more than just kids. It's like, what, 8,000 views?
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, we've been selling DVDs
right.
All summer. So, the views are kind of skewed, because, as many people watch it online, it's probably as many people who, either seen it via DVD, purchase, or us just giving it away at different events and stuff. So, we've given away, at least 300 of them. Sold probably 350 of them. So,
Well, that's great. It's a wonderful movie. You already, that was a great segue into other things. The leagues that you guys run, heard that that's pretty much the foundation. There's a lot that you do. I'm going to start with the foundation, though. It is basketball, correct?
Yeah, the foundation, we do a fall league, a summer league, 4 high school showcases during the season. Then we do 3 AAU tournaments, which is actually expanding into maybe more. And then we also do our first, for the first time, we'll be doing a real big camp with Hoop Mixtape, the popular media outlet who does all the highlight tapes and stuff, Hoop Mixtape. So we'll be doing a camp with them October 13th and 14th at Wilson High School. So we're trying to do some things that's kind of the foundation that we set.
Okay. All right, Rob, you have a question, sir?
Yes, I do. Arize, seeing as how, first and foremost, being a graduate of Florida A&M, kudos to you for accomplishing that. Tell us a little bit how you got started. I was reading a little article here a little earlier, how you got started back in 2007. Tell us a little bit of your background.
All right. Well, yeah, I went to FAMU. Shout out to my Rattlers. I know we in Howard country, but yeah, shout out to my Rattlers. But I was down there. You know, got a chance to get away from the area, really grow up, mature, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was down there. I got plugged into the basketball scene very well because I started off like at 16 years old, running like local 3-on-3s, 5-on-5 and stuff like that. But like I always tell people like in interviews and stuff, like not like the homie is the ref or like my uncle or dad or something, but like actually going out to real officials, hiring real officials.
So it was legit, from jump.
Yeah, like you want that legitimacy. Like I actually want to print out like a schedule, print out like standings and stuff like that, so that people who came to watch could like. So it's just like getting bigger and bigger, like in the neighborhoods and stuff like that. Like I go everywhere, like doing everywhere. So after that, I went down to FAMU, continued to get plugged in down there. Was working with like the team breakdown dudes, and they were at that point in time they were just getting started. That's when they had like Brandon Knight, Kenny Boyden, like those guys, like 7th and 8th graders, stuff like that. They used to do like a bunch of tournaments in Tallahassee, and that's when like I think like Torian Green and those guys, like the older guys, Rashad Anderson, those guys were like my age. So when I first graduated, they had like a lot of momentum from those guys. So for people who don't know, Torian Green was like on that Florida team, teams that started point guard. Rashad Anderson was on the UConn team.
Oh, so. I know Rashad, a big UConn fan.
He knows.
So I was down there, so they had a lot of momentum from those guys. So I just like literally like offered my services. So I got really connected down there. My big break came maybe I think the summer going into my junior year because I started working like a bunch of college camps. Shout out to like Georgetown, Maryland, UConn. I worked Joe Wooten basketball camp, stuff like that. And I was just like an annoying, pesky dude, like asking 1,000 questions, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? And everybody's like, man, shut up! Like you keep asking all these questions, man. Can I live? Like, but I had to get in, so like I was asking all these questions. The big break came from, which is kind of weird, but the big break came from my boys Kyle Anderson. If anybody knows Kyle Anderson now, they probably think of his son, Kyle Anderson, who's a freshman at UCLA, now All-American. But like I've known them for years because his father and his partner Jimmy Salmons, who run the New Jersey Players, they were like the dudes that really like showed me love. Like we went up there. Me and my one of my friends who's in the business too. I think he's out in New Mexico State now, like a grad assistant or video coordinator or something like that. But we went up to the Players Ball in New York City and just offered to work for free. Like, yeah, can we work for free? We just want to work. We just want to get connected. And it's almost kind of like that whole Memphis Bleak Jay-Z thing. Like, gee, I ride with you for free. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want the long-term riches, and so that's kind of what I was on. So like, you know what I'm saying? So I went up there. You know what I'm saying? And started off as like, cause I'm kind of big, so he put me as like security, like make sure everybody who walks through has a wristband. So I'm like shell shocked. I'm telling dudes like Phil Martelli and John Calipari, like, hey, you got a wristband? Like, get out of my face. But by the time it was over, by the time the weekend was over, we were like working the clock and book and like kind of running things like. And he was like, man, I gotta mess with y'all. Yeah, I know what y'all doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like 19, 20 at this point, like, and he really messed with me. So we stayed in contact. He like gave me the phone numbers to like everybody like in the DC area who's anybody in basketball, like everybody plugged me in with. Then he plugged me in with the hoop group. They were looking for somebody. He plugged me in and gave me a reference. Showed me love. Made sure they was paying me. Made sure they weren't using me. Right. And from then on, it was on and popping. After that, did my thing up there. I was assistant tournament director. From there, a dude Curtis Simons, who's like a former BT executive. He had built a gym out in Chantilly called Hoop Magic. And he was so impressed by like a young black dude. Like, I was the youngest dude to ever work at the hoop group. I was 21, ever to work at the hoop group. And
wait, you weren't just the assistant, you were the fresh face assistant. That's how they have it labeled in this article. I thought that was important.
I like that label. So I was over there. So and if anybody knows the hoop group, the tradition is I'm probably like the third like minority ever to work there, and like one of the first one like I said, I was the youngest person ever up there. So I got up there. That's when I got introduced to everything. Like it was like training camp for life. Like training camp for the business, like boot camp. Because you got up there and I thought I was a big shot. Yeah, I know Team Breakdown. I know Brandon Knight and Kenny Boyd and all that. And you get up there and they're like, man, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing, man. As a matter of fact, go fold brochures, man. Matter of fact, go staple coaches packets, man.
It's real humbling.
Yeah, very humbling. So brought me down to earth. Stayed on my grind. Curtis Simons found me. He was really impressed. Young black dude in a position of authority like this. Met a lot of college coaches. They really put me in position to do things. Like they had me running like gyms and stuff, a bunch of gyms and stuff, like by myself. You know what I'm saying? And met a lot of people, and then I got the opportunity to go to Hoop Magic. So I bounced, went down there, blew it up. You know what I'm saying? And I've got labels like that next dude. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's looking at me like, oh, you ever heard this dude? Yeah, and I just became that dude. So from that point on, it was like, you know, it was Hoop Magic. 2 really good years. Then, you know, things started to kind of go sour. You know, what usually happens when, you know, people are making money and you got a lot of people in your ears telling you what they can and can't do for you. So, you know, they made the choices they made. I made the choices I made. We went our separate ways. That building is now called the Nova Dome, and More Than Basketball, getting ready to go into its 4th year. So, you know.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful. Pretty much just been on your grind and hustling the whole time, which is what we're trying to do as well. And that's why I felt the need to reach out to you. I don't know if I told you, Rob, but I called Arize like maybe 3-4 months ago, and then got busy, hadn't gotten back to you and everything. But I'm glad you could come in. But the key thing is it's more than basketball. Talk about SNS, Swag and Substance.
Yeah. SNS clothing. Never leave home without it. It all started together. You know, SNS clothing started in 2009. Was how that started was a funny story. When I was down at FAMU, it was about More Than Basketball down at FAMU, and I had come up with this crazy idea. I was like, when I was in college, because I was in Florida and I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything. You know, I maybe know like 2 girls who went to high school with me, but I didn't really know anybody. So I was like, I'm not the only person down here who doesn't know anybody. So I used to look around at all the people running for freshman class rep, and I was like, how do they know where to go for like their flyers, their posters, their t-shirts, like all their campaign needs? So I started offering, I partnered up with 2 guys, started offering like a campaign package, you know, where guys could pay X amount of dollars and we like design their shirts, design their logos, posters, flyers, print them up and everything. You know, we know mommy, a lot of those guys are pretty, you know, fortunate. Mommy and daddy might look out for them, so they had it. So like, it became like a big thing. Because I mean, you think about it, it's like 12 different positions every year that people are running for in the spring and the fall. And it's like, so think about how many people are going for each of those positions. So it became like a real hustle. So we started doing these t-shirts for people, and everybody was like, man, like, these t-shirts are kind of tight. We'd actually wear them. Like, we'd actually wear those for real. Like, and plus it's college, so it wasn't like everybody was trying to be like G-Star down and Gucci'd up and Louis that. You know, it's like
can't go wrong with a t-shirt.
Yeah, so like dude was really like, yeah, we like these shirts. Like, and so we was like, damn, the designer and I was like, should we do this? Can we do this? Like once I graduated and got in the swing of things, like we came up with the idea, but once, you know, I got with the basketball, so I was more focused on that. But when 2009 came around, I was a little situated, a little more comfortable financially. You know, Hoop Magic was really buzzing. I was getting ready, you know, to go into like the More Than Basketball thing. Things were kind of going, you know, downhill in terms of our relationship. But financially, I was at a place where I was like, I could do different things. You know, I was like 23 or something like that. Not even. Like 23 or something. Like, and I'm like, man, I could do some things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And started off, the material stunk. You know what I'm saying? Like the designs were cool, but material stunk, and we weren't able to do stuff, and didn't really know what we were doing at all. Just typical young dudes jumping in head first and not knowing how deep the pool was. But you know, the failing is the best teacher. We failed beautifully, learned from it, and 3 years later, you know, people feeling this way. You know.
What I just had, so I could have you come on here, you know. SNS shirt now, right? Correct?
Oh,
see, I can't do that and just let you walk out here and not throw it out. Man over here has one on too.
Yeah,
you know.
Everyone affiliated with me is SNS down.
Right.
Anyone affiliated just comes with the territory. You know?
All right, and then the fall league, it starts soon. What's the date for that?
September 15th, our 4th annual Washington D.C. Fall League will be at Friendship Collegiate, 4505 Minnesota Avenue Northeast, right across the street from Minnesota Avenue Station. You know, we try to do it for the city. We were at Cesar Chavez the last 3 years, but they want to do some other things, and we want to try some other things. And you know, nowadays dudes holler at me all the time, like, man, when you gonna do something with us? Because you know, in the city, funds are, you know, at a mid-premium.
Right.
So dudes are looking to fundraise. So dudes holler at me all the time, like, you know, trying to do something in my gym, Opportunity presents itself, moves around the corner. I'm happy with the decision. I'm looking forward to a 4th year. We have more teams this year than we've had ever in the past. And growing, and you know, should be cool, man. Cool environment, cool atmosphere, should be cool.
Okay, and how did the summer league go? Who won the summer league?
Summer league, Wilson actually won it. They were the whole school. They won it. Not to take anything from Wilson, but you know, obviously in the month of July we have playoffs. Is when a lot of kids go for with their AAU teams and stuff. So a lot of rosters were depleted. I would love to see everybody play it out with their original rosters.
Right.
Although Wilson was undefeated in the regular season, to their credit, but you know, like Bishop O'Connell was in there. They never played Wilson in the regular season in the summer league, but You know, obviously Bishop O'Connor got like 4, like maybe 5 or 6 Division I dudes. So,
Right.
you know, I mean, they were probably like on paper the better team, but you know, not taking anything away from Wilson. Them kids like worked hard, they earned it. And the JV Team Zoom, this team out of Waldorf, Maryland, they won it. So that was a good story. Team Zoom was comprised of a bunch of kids that didn't even play on their high school teams.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the coach put them together and they ended up winning it. So that was cool for them. That was a good look for them. So, you know.
Okay, well, before we let you out of here, just tell everybody, you guys obviously, you know, have a website. Let everybody know what the website is.
www.morethanbasketballmg.net. MG for management group, money gang, whatever you want to call it, you know. But morethanbasketballmg.net. You can follow us on Facebook, More Than Basketball. Also, check out SNS Clothing on Instagram. It's S and spelled out ANDS_clothing. So like sand, sands clothing _clothing. That's how it look. But SNS Clothing, you know, definitely gets you. Check that out. Check out what we got going on. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Arize, ARIZ, like zebra, ETOB. You know, and then just doing some things, you know.
So, with all that, you already know what you got going on. Who's your NBA team? I know it's far off, but
It's far off, but you know, LeBron James is the logo.
all right.
He's in the logo. You know, he's the damn. A lot of people think that's me, but I wish I was that well as shit. not that cut up. But it's LeBron James, our logo, is the witness logo. So I'm always gonna roll with LeBron. And a lot of people don't understand why we made him the logo. But if LeBron James wasn't as special as he was at the high school level, I wouldn't have a business.
Right.
Because he made high school basketball relevant before he came
A
through.
lot of people seem to forget that these games weren't on
They
ESPN.
weren't at all. Like,
St. Mary, St. Vincent's kind of started all of this.
To where you had nationally televised games and people actually cared about like high school basketball. People actually and made the AAU business go from like you know become $100 million business, you know, or $1 billion business, whatever it is today. That was LeBron James and him being that special. You haven't seen anybody since then. Because as good as Kevin Durant was, he wasn't as hyped as LeBron in high school.
Nah, we started hearing about LeBron at 13, 14.
Exactly. So LeBron James, I'm always gonna roll with him. I'm always gonna roll with the king. You know, so that's my guy. So I guess by default, I'm a Miami Heat fan.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But I got love for KD though. He's a hometown dude. I don't really know him or nothing. I mean, he didn't play on my bench or nothing. I don't know him. I mean, he's like a couple years younger than me. But I mean, every time I see him around, it's like a good dude. That's happening. You know, he's the cool, good dude. You know, I see him at the club stuff. He'd be at the Cafe Asia and all that stuff. So, funny story. I always tell people. Last time I saw him at Cafe Asia, I'm a go-go fan, so I didn't mention that.
Yes, I was my fault.
Yeah, they played our music at Cafe Asia, and Kevin Durant was like actually really bouncing. Though. Like it was kind of cool to see that, like the fact that he knows about us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He's feeling y'all too.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good look. So you know, shout out to Katie.
Right. Fair enough. Well, Arize, thank you so much for stopping by, man. We're about to get off. You hold on for 2 minutes. As usual, thank you so much, Rob.
Yes,
great
sir.
job, man. See you next week. And just to let everybody know real quick, our site has changed. If you go to www.mymos.net, it no longer exists. We are now at mymindonsports.com. It's a little bit easier for everybody. Just spell it all out. Once again, it's mymindonsports.com. And we will see you all next week. And until then, you guys have a...
Oh, and shout out to my business partner, Rod T.O.B., R.O.D.T.O.B. His birthday is coming up on Tuesday. I forgot all about it. His birthday is coming up on Tuesday. Man, we all getting old, but, you know...
Y'all got some time. I'm older than y'all. Y'all good.
He did. And Rod actually not only celebrating his birthday, but it's also the 1 year anniversary of him getting his master's degree. So from
Congratulations,
GW,
Congratulations on that.
Congratulations.
from GW, you know he's a rapper too though, but from GW, you know, shout out to GW.
Graduates. But all right, guys, we'll see you next week at 7 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in to My Mind Sports.